Good evening, ladies. Some technical difficulties. Excuse me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're probably hearing a little bit of noise from my microphone. I'm working on that. Hey there, everybody. War Spirit's with me this evening. How are you doing, War Spirit?
I'm doing okay, Jonathan. It's been a long week, so I'm it's been a good week, but I'm glad it's over.
I understand. I completely understand, man. I really do.
Yeah, it's just been a rough one, but hey, God is good, right? And the week is done. We can kind of get maybe a little bit of a rest and relaxation. Also, a lot of projects for me around the house. I'm trying to get done and all that. Yeah, good.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you're doing pretty good. I'm glad these things are working out for you. How's my mic sound to you, War Spirit?
It sounds okay. Sounds good.
Good. I'm glad. So, we've got a few things to talk about. It's been a really busy week for us in our personal lives from work and everything else like that. So, we apologize for a little bit of a slow week, but we're going to give you a show. We packed it with some really interesting topics, things that are really important that have been kind of forgotten about when it comes to mainstream media. Let me go ahead and close out the intro music. So, let's go ahead and open up in prayer. Lord, it has been a hard week for me, for almost everybody I know, Lord, and I pray for protection. I pray for mercy. I pray for your grace, Lord, to rain down, Lord. Please just give us peace and comfort in this time, Lord, as a county. Protect us from those who would want to hurt us, and help those who want to hurt us to see that it's not right and that they need to change. Lord, I pray for Israel. I pray for the ceasefire they propose, Lord. I pray that it be beneficial and actually effective. And I pray for the demise of Hamas wherever they're found. If it be your will, Lord, in your name, amen.
Amen.
So, on that note, I know it wasn't really in the show notes, but to go ahead and start off with that, a ceasefire has been proposed from Palestine to Israel, and Israel has agreed to the terms, which is fine. They rejected it firstly because it was ridiculous, basically, standard Philistine tactic, like, hey, you stop shooting at us, but we're still going to shoot at you, okay? And they're like, no.
Right. It's like, no, there, Chief. Yeah, another thing with that is, so Biden called Netanyahu this week, and he was like, I expect a severe, basically saying, cease talks and stuff for ceasefire to take place like right now, and basically Netanyahu told him to go ram it up his butthole.
Good.
Yeah.
To say,
he said we take care of Israel's best interests here in Israel, and we don't care what other country tells us what they think we should do.
Almost wish our country was like that. Seemingly we're, it's kind of like a leader is kind of a form of foundation, and when your foundation is not solid, you're bound to rock in the water,
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things. It's frustrating having terrible leadership in place, such as our governor and such as our president. And I'm not gonna lie, I try to be unbiased with everything, and if I were to meet Biden, I'd say, well, everyone around me is telling me that I should hate you. Give me one good reason not to. That's what I'd like to tell him.
Well, he had an answer for that.
Yeah?
Yeah, he was on TV and he was like, hey, the duck that went over and then the Ferrari that jumped on the fence and then I had the hair on my legs stand up.
It's hard to hate him with such a profound statement. And that's kind of the big thing is like, if anything, I feel pity for Biden. If I'm completely honest,
I feel pity for Biden.
And it's like I don't really sit there fuming from anything he does because I just realize we've heard the term puppet before, like when it comes to presidents, right? This is pitiful. This is a dementia-ridden old man, and the state is just telling him to say things.
The Hindu Jamaican's the one that's in control.
Yeah, the Kamala.
Yes.
Kamala.
Yeah, the Spread Eagle is the one that's calling all the shots.
Spread Eagle. Going straight to hell, aren't we? It is what it is.
The one, the Spread Eagle.
All right. Yeah.
By the way, I will say this on the show. I'm sorry, John, but I got banned from Facebook today for saying the word slut.
Yeah.
Not at somebody.
Not calling anybody. It was just a good piece of advice. Good.
It was
fatherly
a meme.
Advice. Yeah.
It was a meme, and it had a picture of a very attractive young lady's lower section, and with her jeans partially unbuttoned, and you could see her panties, and it says, "My dad will kill you." And at the bottom, it was Worf from Star Trek that says, "Perhaps today is a good day to die." Funny meme, like haha, chuckle, And I was kind of in a sour mood this morning, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm not feeling that. It's supposed to be one of those sexual jokes that makes you funny, but laugh, and so I just called it like it is, as you well know I do many times. And I was like, well, maybe if she wasn't such a slut, her dad wouldn't have to kill so many people. And that was it was on a Star Trek page. That was a meme page. It says Star Trek uncensored anything goes. Apparently, it wasn't that. Well, that wasn't considered anything goes.
Right.
And so I got reported by all these leftists because, unfortunately, and that makes me really sad. Unfortunately, the majority of Trekkies are leftists. I'm probably one of the few conservatives that is a true Trekkie. And so not only did I get kicked off the page, I figured I was going to get kicked off the page. Okay? After I said that, I'm like, oh, yeah, they're going to kick me from this page. But no, I got banned from Facebook for 30 days. I can go on there, I can look, but I can't even like anything.
Yeah. It reminds me when the time I got banned for a month from Facebook, it was for making a joke about witch hunting. Like, I'm not even kidding. I said something like, it was like I was sitting there and there was this Catholic who was like giving me hell. He's like, "Oh, you Protestants went out and you burned people at the stake because you thought they were witches back in 1700s." And I was like, "Well, they were witches and they needed to be burned." And when I said that, for some reason he's fine, but no, I got banned for 30 days for something like that.
I actually thought it was something else at first because the way it went down, and I didn't even think about the Star Trek thing until I read it, because earlier that morning too. See, because that's how nonchalant I thought it was. Like, I didn't even think of slut as something that you would get banned for.
Well, I got banned for calling someone a twat.
Well, you see, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought I got banned for saying tranny.
Oh, no.
But let me give you some context here, though. It was this morning in a Suzuki forum, and we were talking about trannies for Suzukis.
Right.
And I said, what kind of tranny fluid does it use? And somebody made an off-color joke, or they're like, is that one of those transgenders? Ha ha ha! And we all laughed at it. So at first, I thought that's what I got banned for. And so, but then going further into it, I'm like, oh, it was that.
Gotta love it.
I guess
you gotta love it, and it's bad too. So, Facebook detaches little drones depending on your service record, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll have drones constantly monitor you, constantly. I had never been banned from Facebook, and I've had Facebook for 15 years, right? And it wasn't until last year I got banned for the first time. And I've also been suspended from posting. Even our page has been threatened for sharing opposing views from things.
From Rittenhouse, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, there was also that one that came up recently. One of the original pictures we had of old KR, they took it down. Yeah. Kyle.
I don't know. Oh. Yeah, no, see, that's what I'm saying. It was from Rittenhouse, yeah.
Yeah, well, I just don't want to... It's so bullcrap, man. I get it. Everyone says, oh, I love it how communists jump to defend private companies when it comes to, censoring people. They're like, oh, well, that's their property. And I'm just kind of okay, and we believe in property now? And that sort of thing.
It's always funny with that. They when it's convenient, it's personal property.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's just it. It is okay to lie to the infidels to gain their trust. I don't know. I would be very frustrated if I was a leftist as well. I couldn't imagine the walking around being a walking contradiction. That's my whole purpose.
Speaking of that, though, because what do you hear even sometimes from right-wing people when you bring that up? Well, it is a private business, right? You've heard that, right?
Yeah.
And they can do what they want. Very soon, and I've heard this on Twitter. I don't know if it's true, so those of you who are out there, don't quote me on this. But I've heard through Twitter and other means that President Trump and Elon Musk are looking at making their own Google-sized server.
That'd be nice.
Yes. And so there's several ways you could do it, and I was actually talking to IT about this. This is actually a week ago we was talking about it. I forgot what we was... Maybe he popped in on Discord while I was still at work or something, because I was just talking to him.
Yeah.
And specifically remember I was still at work. And we was visiting about it, and he had some really good insight on it because he's in that world. I'm not in that world. And he's talking about how Google, they make their money from ads, right?
Yeah.
But we both agreed, and I mentioned, I was like, well, and I understand that, but I would be cool if Trump and Elon, if they did make a server like that, where I just had to pay like $7 or $8 a month for the server. I would pay that, not to have ads or to have my information taken. Because that's $8 a month. That's no more than paying for a Netflix subscription.
Right.
But if you get $8 a month for several million people, that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. That being said, I don't think a subscription service would be essential. I mean, conservatives, I would hope, would be smart enough to just bite the bullet on that one, because...
Yeah. I would be perfectly okay with that. Say, and especially if you make it affordable, if you could keep it below the $10 a month
price range, I don't think people would blink their eyes.
Yeah, but you're also looking at, like, so you know how social media, like, this is one of the things that, like, Zuckerberg even went to kind of like a court for, but they couldn't really touch him on it, was leftists and rightists are in their own, like, echo chambers due to the algorithm. Like, it separates leftists and rightists from even seeing each other's opinions. It's like Tiananmen Square crap from China, dude. It's insane. So, like,
you mean on Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook and Google. Like,
I mean, I see. Apparently, I saw leftists that banned me.
well, yeah, and that's true. But, like, that being said, like, ads and, like, things as far as, like, natural, generally, and don't get me wrong, I see plenty of leftist stuff, but at the same time, they did find that this was a proven thing, that the algorithm tries to keep people separate from each other so they don't learn about the truth. They don't learn from each other. And
so
it becomes very hostile.
From versus paying for a server? Where
okay, well, I was just talking about the censorship that we're in. The fact that you have to consider, oh, we need to do this. Like, so let me explain where I was going with that. Is like only conservatives are going to buy into that. You know what I mean? Like, only people who are aware of this Google fraud or care about it and have been censored by it are going to buy into it.
Well, yes and no. You also are going to get a lot of libertarians, and libertarians are not necessarily conservative.
Yeah, well, that's very true. Private business, and it would be nice just not to be, you know, completely and utterly watched all the time because I said COVID-19's a bit overdone.
Well, and just think about having, for example, you get on this new server, and you make your whatever starts growing as the new YouTube on that server. Think about having YouTube again when it was back in the Wild West.
That'd be nice. I'd like that.
Anything goes.
Yeah, that'd be really nice
now,
for our show.
There's gonna be downsides to that. Anytime you have anything goes, there's gonna be a shit ton of porn.
Yeah, you've seen it on MeWe.
Yeah, that's just how it goes. Oh, good lord. So there's a downside. The
internet is for porn.
But as long as you make the devs that make the video streaming deal, as long as they will, and that's the problem with MeWe, they need to make it to where you can filter that stuff out if you don't want to see it.
Elon Musk has money. He's got a crap load of Dogecoin as well. Which also, if that pops up, that also opened the possibility of making Dogecoin more tradable. If Elon Musk wants to.
That's just it. The new server, and maybe that's his plan. The new server could be run on Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, that's where we trade our Dogecoin.
No, it should be nice. It would be a solid thing.
And like I said, this isn't a set in stone thing. These are just rumors that I heard.
Well, it would be nice. It would be very, very nice. I would enjoy that, being able to stream and work that out in a way where I don't feel like I have to watch what I say because of the algorithms all-seeing eye.
It'd be like, so that's my biggest problem. That's what got me in trouble on Facebook. Apparently, it's hilarious. I find objectification of women on memes like that as disparaging women.
Right. No, but if you call it out for what it is.
But if you call it out of like, well, she's being a slut. Well, now I'm in trouble. You're the one that posted it, not me.
Yep. It's like this risque freaking photo is less damaging than a word. Okay.
It's like, I want you to put some clothes on because I think
that what you have is beautiful and needs to be protected.
Yep. Well, that just makes you an incel. An incel
Yeah, it makes me an
processor.
incel. So, audience, and I was telling John about this before I got the hammer. They for me saying that this meme, not even a real young lady, it was a picture of a young lady. I'm sure it was a real young lady of some type, but the person that posted this, it wasn't the same person that was on the photo.
Yeah, it was a meme. That's the whole thing.
It was a meme.
Yeah.
This photo, since I called this photo, is like, well, if she quit being a slut, then her dad wouldn't have to kill people. Since I said that, they called me an incel. Now, for those of you who are not in the know, which I couldn't even remember, John has explained it to me before, but usually these what I call them millennial phrases. I don't know if that's really a millennial phrase, but
It is.
I really don't give two shits sometimes about millennial phrases. And sorry, that's no, not trying to disparage you, John. But
Well,
some
all
of
I
these
know
phrases,
is that's an insult tag.
so incel, for those of you who are not in the know, basically I guess means that you're
Involuntarily.
you can't get laid.
Yeah, involuntarily celibate.
Yeah. John, am I involuntary celibate? You've been to my house. You've met my wife and my 3 girls.
I guess someone else shot the lion, Chief.
Maybe somebody else shot the lion.
Yeah, because these internet feminists are all knowing, and they don't just throw the word incel around
They
for
were
no
in
reason.
our bedroom and watched us the whole time. That I never penetrated anything.
Yeah, no, I remember. It was kind of funny. I had a feminist tell me women will never call someone incel without a good reason, and I was just sitting there, kind of like, "Wow, that's." So
that's
really
women
great.
will never call somebody involuntarily celibate without a good reason.
Yep. So that's apparently that's law now.
So okay, so let's take this logic for a second. Let's take this logic. So basically what they're saying is it's not even necessarily true that they're involuntarily celibate, but they're saying it because they want to be disparaging to the person that they said it to, because they think they have a good reason for
It's a very silly insult if you think about it. It's kind of like, oh, there's this guy, and he doesn't like the fact that these people are throwing their lives away, so let's insult his purity? Because it's odd to me. It's like I don't really see incel as an insult.
That's just it. It's so funny. Like, I say this, they're like, coming from somebody. Basically, this is what they're saying. Coming from somebody who can't get laid.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like, didn't we get out of the high school phase?
Well, that's just it. Let's take that for let's pretend for a minute that I'm a virgin, and I have never had sex.
Okay.
And they do say that because I said that a woman shouldn't be objectifying her body.
Exactly. Well, I've kind of.
That doesn't make it different that a woman shouldn't be objectifying her body, and it still means I'm being protective because God made men that way to protect a woman.
Now you're really getting
word,
into soggy knee territory.
God's word talks about this, and for those of you young men out there, and I've heard this before, like, you hear some like guys like, well, I just treat her like one of the boys. God's word has something to say about that. God's word says that you're supposed to treat younger women like your sister and older women like your mother.
It does say that.
Now it talks about that out of marriage. That's not your wife. That's
Right.
that's different.
Don't get a mommy kink, okay? That's
Yeah. I love you, sister. Yeah, don't do that. No, of that. We ain't in Arkansas.
Right, we ain't Arkansas. Sorry, Arkansas fans.
But it's talking about women that are not your wife. You're supposed to treat younger women like your sister, and older women like your mother.
Right. Well,
all purity. What it continues to say.
Right. Well, it's very funny. Like I remember one time I was defending a pregnant woman, right? She was pregnant and she like posted a photo of her being pregnant, and for some reason a bunch of vicious like pro-aborts were like saying awful things. Like it was really weird. Like they're just angry that she was pregnant. And I stepped in and they're like, "Oh, leave it to an incel to defend a pregnant woman." And I'm like, huh? It's like,
leave it to an incel to defend a pregnant woman?
Yeah. No, I'm serious. These people are mental, Ty. Like, they are...
it's always funny because, see, okay, so if you defend, and I'm just going to say it, some skank for being a skank, some actually will tell you you're white knighting.
Mm-hmm.
But if you defend a pregnant woman, you're an incel.
It is what it is. But we got a lot to talk about tonight. Probably better kill that rabbit before it frickin' keeps going.
I'm having fun with this.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a good thing. I guess because like some of the topics we had tonight, I'm gonna be honest, kind of suck. That's actually a good talk. Like, I'll tell you what, though. What I do want to mention, the mask thing. I want to talk about masks in San Juan County.
Yeah.
So, we had an insider with Is Today the Day Media. They went out and about like they normally would to buy their groceries, and they let us know of something very strange. The signs in town have changed. Generally in stores and that sort of thing. So in Smith's, for example, well, actually, all right. Let me start off with the one I saw, and I'll expand into the more ridiculous one. So I went over to Dick's Sporting Goods the other day, and I bought me a bicycle, and it was really cool. It's a really cool bike, but we'll talk about that in a moment. I went over to Dick's.
I heard over there in Farmington they got Dick's with chicks.
Yes, they do. Old Chick-fil-A. But I went over there, and on the sign it said, "It is okay if you have been fully vaccinated. You can enter our store without a mask. But we ask if you have not been fully vaccinated to wear a mask, please." I was like, interesting. Because it reminded me of the sign at Smith's, which is a bit odd. It says... something along the lines of, "You can enter our store without a mask if you have been fully vaccinated, but you may be required to provide proof."
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Now, I liked Dick's version. That's fine. It's like, oh, whatever. And they didn't really care. I walked in there without a mask. I just drinking my soda.
I'm looking at my proof right here. And it's in between my ring finger and my trigger finger.
Yeah, and that's the fact. So, I was talking about, because I used to have this little thing on my license. I wish I could pull it up for the show, and it was a stick man with a stick with leaves and stuff hanging out its butt. I drew that, and I had a little arrow that was like signifying, it says, "Pull it out." Kind of pull the stick out your ass, basically. I would like to be able to, like, oh yeah, here's my card.
What you do is you reach in your pocket and you do that. We used to do this in the field, like to the safety guy. You got your forklift card? Oh yeah, right here. You go like that and you give him the finger.
Yep. Have to say, "Hey, look here, it's an airplane." You all start off with like the finger going across your arm like an airstrip.
Almost got it.
Yeah, and that's just it. I think it's a bluff, as you said, War Spirit. I really would like to see the average Smith's scrawny crackhead come up and be like, "Yeah, can you provide proof that you've been vaccinated?" And I'll be like, yeah, I was vaccinated.
I'd be kind of scared sometimes at Smith, though. I mean, not necessarily say anybody, but anything, but just there's something strange about Smiths. I kind of wonder, like if there's a strange spell over it. It's, just saying.
So,
anyways,
hopefully there's not a spell over Smiths. There might be someone who can cast spells at Smiths, so be very careful.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I did not say that there is any witchcraft going on at Smiths.
Well, listen. If I run into Smiths, maybe I can ask that person who may or may not know how to cast spells if they can or cannot spawn me proof of vaccination. Conjure me through the fish smell of frickin' Smiths to give me a frickin' vaccination card.
Not the Smiths.
It's not the Smiths. I want you to stop. I need you to be quiet.
I don't know what you mean. Anyways, moving on. We got another kind of an interesting one. I don't know. It is what it is. So we have covered before some of the governor's expenses that she's done, overreaching and spending and using the taxpayers' money.
Yeah, Wagyu beef, eh?
I had to mute my mic there for a minute with a belch. Yeah, Wagyu beef and different things. And also, we have heard the report that she did spend $6,000 to her hairdresser, so she could make herself look pretty for the camera, right?
$1,000.
$6,000, and this is in the course. This is in the course of just a few months. So, but there's icing on the cake for this, John.
Yeah.
The $6,000 that she spent to this quote beautician ends up being her very own daughter.
Wow.
So the state of New Mexico Republicans are saying, well, that's nepotism. Not only are you misappropriating taxpayers' money, it's also nepotism. Kind of like getting Russia to pay your son, $4 million a year, to do nothing and get high and smoke crack.
No kidding, hey?
Yeah, who did that? I don't know.
Hope he finds what he's hunting, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, and I'm going to throw this in there, since we did mention old Hunter Biden. There was a gas station in Missouri.
No.
Yes.
Let me find that picture. I'll throw it up for the audience.
I'm 99% sure it's Missouri. I know it's true. I thought it was like a Photoshop at first, but it's true. They posted this picture of Hunter Biden and basically says that the gas prices are getting higher than Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gas.
I thought that was
station.
pretty funny.
Hi, let's see here.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if John has his photo out or
I haven't yet.
Up.
Oh, I'm getting it going. I do not have my camera up. No.
I'm not doing a camera tonight because it was a long week. I'm sitting here with I'm not gonna lie to you, with a can of beer and without my shirt on, and nobody wants to see that.
Right. So let me go ahead and look.
I don't know. Maybe some of you ladies want to see that, but I'm a married man, so.
Right.
Sorry.
What? I don't want to grab that. I don't.
But I'm just an incel, anyways.
Right. You don't know. You don't. No, that's so. There's been a lot of jokes about that, especially in like the men's groups I hang out in, because like they'll just sit there and like they'll just say one thing, like they'll just be like, "Hey, I kind of don't think that like you're going about doing that right, miss." And she's just like, "Incel." It's like, wait a minute. It's
yeah.
like,
So basically, that's what I'm. That's kind of what I was referring to earlier. Maybe I didn't explain myself very good. To me, it sounds like it's becoming kind of the millennial female knee-jerk insult.
yeah. I can't find this. What? For some reason, my window capture is like giving me all kinds of fits here. Maybe I can. No. Why? Why? There it is. All right. Let me see if I can find out where the heck this is gone. There it is. Okay, so I got the image up now of the Hunter
There was
Biden.
background noise too. I apologize.
It wasn't too bad.
My beautiful bride tried to burn our house down, so I just had to stop a grease fire.
To say, welcome to preparing for the day. What to do in the situation of a grease fire.
Yeah.
So I've got the
Flared
picture up,
pretty
everyone.
bad there for a minute. It scared me greatly.
Yeah. So
let's see. Oh yeah, I see it.
yeah. So we've got hope gas prices don't get too high. Meanwhile, gas prices, and it's Hunter Biden sitting in the bathtub with a crack pipe,
Yep.
or marijuana, or whatever.
And that was one of the pictures off of the laptop that disappeared.
Yep. So that being said, if it's Missouri, I got to give them credit. That was like our gas prices under Trump. They're doing pretty good. We've got freaking $3.99 for gas over here.
Well, yeah, but you should have seen the gas prices in Missouri before this.
Yeah, probably a lot better.
I knew we're like, I kid you not. I think they were like $1.50.
That's solid.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get that off screen there. All right. Let me. Yeah. So, again, we apologize for kind of the slow conversations, ladies and gentlemen.
This is kind of just a chill night, guys.
Yeah, it
you know,
really is.
See, I'm gonna exit out of this so I can see our.
So, there we go. Man alive, I am just so tired. I just
another
did a
thing,
lot of running.
Yeah, he kind of had crazy stuff going on we won't talk about on air, ladies and gentlemen. So, John, where's Ghislaine?
Where is Ghislaine? Where is she?
Do you guys, audience out there, do you know who Ghislaine is? Do you even remember her name? Ghislaine Maxwell? The girlfriend of now deceased Jeffrey Epstein, who didn't kill himself.
Where did that lady go? I remember when we first began broadcasting. Reminds me.
I'm the one that was talking about Ghislaine before anybody else was.
Mm-hmm. You were like, hey, what's this? And you started going into it. So if you want to find that, you can find that on our old channel on YouTube, if you're still subscribed.
We need to import some of those to our new channel, especially.
See about. I could probably link that old channel and just have it there. Because we got, you want to have a blast from the past. Look at our podcast about, the outbreak in Wuhan.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow, from there to now, all the way down to the protests. Wow. It's insanity. Yeah. We've done a lot. We've put in work, War Spirit. I am impressed. Yeah. Sometimes. I sit down and, our following for these podcasts is still kind of small, sadly. But,
Well, we've done a lot.
Yeah.
And we're gonna grow. We're gonna grow. And those of you who are out there listening to us, you can help us do that. We are going to. I'm just gonna throw this out there because I'm going to do it. I looked into it, and I am going to actually have some morale patches very soon with our logo on the patches, or at least one version of our logo. They're going to be in PVC, so it's not it's all going to be all plastic. But the other side is going to be Velcro, so they'll attach to like any of your tactical hats, any of your like tactical shirts, anything that has fuzzy Velcro on it. This patch will attach to it. I don't know what the pricing is yet. I'm gonna do my very best to keep that pricing down as low as I can, so I can get you, the audience, a good deal. If I have to, I'm actually going to sell them at cost. Just so you guys can start being able to share is today media.
Yeah, no, it'll be cool. Get some patches going, merchandise.
Yeah.
And, just spread it around, that sort of thing. So that'll be cool.
What we'll probably do is in the near future, just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, once we do have these, we will probably be opening our own is today media bank accounts. That'll be meaning getting the business license and everything going, which is it's a little bit of work, but I know how to do all that, so it's not that big of a deal. So you should be able to just we'll be able to charge your credit cards straight through like a temp service. In fact, I know somebody in the family that actually deals with card machines, so the selling of them. So I'll bet you will be able to get a pretty good deal out of that.
I know. That'll be the way to go. We start getting merch out. People actually like wearing our product. I think that's a very effective way of spreading the word. Because it's always great. It's like, ooh, that looks cool. What does that belong to? Is today the day?
Yeah, and I'm a sucker for like stuff like that. I love merch.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I'm a big hey, I'm gonna say the word again. I'm a big slut for t-shirts and stuff, especially like tactical t-shirts. I love them. So if it's got like a catchy phrase or just like a funny, like I got one that says, "If you can see this, you're in range." I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I was talking about a patch I wanted to get, which is the join or die snake, except it's all black with like a little bit of white. And instead of saying join or die, it just says die.
Die.
I really want to get that one. I was like, yes. You know, if crap hits the fan, that's the truth.
So, History Corner, do you got anything for history?
I wanted to take a moment, everyone, to, in our current times, to remember the Civil War. It came up earlier in the week. Somebody was talking to me about it, and it's just kind of like laid on my heart. Of course, you know, none of those people from those days are alive, so there's really no point in, oh, I'm so sorry for you. You know, they're dead. But the Civil War was an interesting turning point. I suggest everyone get into reading into it, because that was the only other time in American history that we actually had been just completely broken down, separated, and divided. Even more than we are now. I would like even consider to say, like, I know this sounds crazy, but the Civil War was worse than what we have now by a long shot. So, like, be grateful. But the Civil War is just something that kind of came to mind. I don't really have much specifics to say about it, but it's an interesting concept. I personally like War Spirit. I've been asked this, being a history buff. They ask me, they say, well, if you were alive during the Civil War and you kind of had like the mindset like of today, right? Like I knew what I knew now, what side would I pick? And I was like, I'd hate to pick a side in such a silly battle. And it kind of got me thinking, you know, how much of it was genuinely silly and how much of it was necessary. Because there's a lot of things that I could agree with the Confederacy Party on, and in honesty, there's more things I could agree with the Union on, especially when it comes to like human rights. And
Well, see,
Lincoln.
here's the thing, and that's what I've told people before. If it wasn't for the South screwing up and wanting to keep slavery, I probably would have been on the South side.
Yeah. Because, that being said, the South had a right to secede. It's in the Constitution.
They did.
Yeah.
And so that's the only reason why I would have been on the Union side, is because of the freedom for all men.
Yeah, that's one of the things is like, if not for the slavery thing, I think I would go whole hog, like the Confederates have a right to do what they were doing.
Correct.
But the slavery thing really puts a damper in it. And like, I want people to kind of like understand that as well. Like, if one of your concepts is, just like for political talk, if one of your concepts is unusually cruel, I want you to kind of just like think about it and think about it as like, is this something wrong with me? Is this some kind of inner hatred, or is this a genuine like deal that needs done? I want people to kind of self-reflect.
Or are you just being an incel?
Right, he's just being an incel. So the Civil War, a lot of Americans died in the Civil War, and that's how I look at it. I think it's in American history, I think it's the saddest war we've ever fought.
Oh, definitely. So this is the first and only war that the United States has had where it was father against son. It was brother against brother. It tore this country apart, and even after it was over, it took a long time for there to be healing. There was still,
all the way up through like World War One, there was people still
there was still hatred, and in some small places, even today, that hatred still holds. It's still part of the hatred that unfortunately has grown in this nation in small parts, that think that Nazi Germany was right for what they did to the Jews.
Yeah. And as we go forward into looking at how much hate Israel has received, I can't help but sit back and wonder how many people are going to start hating Jews now because of this media bandwagon that's seemingly out of nowhere.
Well, and to go back, steer it back over to the Civil War again.
Yeah.
So there's people who still agree and listen to "I'm a good old rebel."
Yeah.
And if you listen to those lyrics, it's sheer hatred for the red, white, and blue.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a good old rebel. Now that's just what I am. For a Yankee nation, I do not give a damn. I'm glad I fought again her, I only wish I'd won. I ain't asked any pardon for anything I've done. Yeah, so it goes on, and it even insults, like, the Declaration of Independence, which I'm like, what? Are you saying, like, you guys like the British? Like, it's weird to me, but like I was saying, the Confederates hated everything about the Union by the end of the war. And the Union... The Union had committed war crimes, too. I mean...
Oh, it had.
Yeah.
It had. That hatred, unfortunately, has been cast down from generation to generation.
Sadly.
To where, and we both know an individual who I think fits that bill. And he has this hate in his heart because his father has taught him that way.
And that father's father, and that father's father.
It's really sad. Because he's not as far as a person goes, he's not a bad person.
Yeah.
But he's been taught wrong.
It's one of those things that's like, just like slavery, right? Like, there's all these people like sitting back, you need to pay reparations because you're white. I kind of see the same mentality with Southern flag worshippers. Like, don't get me wrong, if you have a Confederate flag, awesome, all the power to you, as long as you understand that it's a heritage thing and not like you actually want to like start a war with the Union again. Like,
Yeah.
because the Union, I look at 1950s America, I look at the 40s and all that, everything we've been through as a Union now, get past it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
It's been a hot minute since the 1800s.
It's been a hot minute. And, wars are fought, wars are won, and you have to take in the positives with the negatives, Did the Confederacy have a right to resist and secede? Yes, absolutely. However, at the end of the day, like, the war didn't start because of slavery, but it ended because of slavery. It's kind of the way I put it.
Well, and see, right, wrong, or indifferent, Lincoln knew that he had to gain favor with the rest of the country. And he's like, well, how can I do that? Well, if I tack on freedom for the slaves, that's something the majority of the country would actually go for.
Yeah. Well, that's just
so, I mean, he was very shrewd, So he added that.
Right, and
that's why people went.
You want to talk about the sadness of the Civil War, like the sadness of it. Like if you look at like Robert E. Lee and his quotes on like slaves, he was like, if the people of the South would free the slaves, and it means that this war is over and we are seceded, then fine, let's do that. But I know that's not going to happen, and that's the sadness of it. Like. And it also kind of points to the fact, like, no, the war didn't start because of slavery. Your history teachers are manipulating you. But anyways, what I mean to say is, like, even Robert E. Lee, he was like, if I could free the slaves, I would. Mm-hmm. He says, but, being that was his constituency, that like, now it was like this big thing.
Are you sure that's part of your constituency?
Is you or is you ain't my constituency? And then Lincoln put him up on the wooden pole and threw him out. Man, golly, I wish the Oh Brother Where Art Thou soundtrack wasn't like a copyright masterpiece.
Lincoln on his
Lincoln log.
Lincoln was the first to campaign using the railway system. Fun fact for you. So technically, he could have said, we're mass communicating.
Could you imagine that? Lincoln, I think, even went about saying that he didn't much care for slaves.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. I mean, I like Lincoln, but damn.
Lincoln said it didn't really mean two shits to him that the slaves were freed.
No, he didn't really
care.
Yeah.
He said that in a speech.
But this just goes into, again, like, look at Robert E. Lee and look at, like, Abraham Lincoln. It's like, again, it's like, in other circumstances, I'm sure they'd be good friends.
Yeah.
It's like, you want to talk about, like, this is where I was kind of going with this. Like, everyone's talking about Civil War, right? It's the big talk of the town in, like, conservative communities and so on and so forth. Stop it. It's not fun, it's not glamorous, and death, at the end of the day, yes, don't get me wrong, it's good to be a warrior, it's good to embrace challenge, and embrace, like, killing your enemy when possible, but listen, you don't want that enemy to be your brother, okay? That is not fun.
Could you imagine, because the Civil War, even more so than today, it was a very physical war. Because you had a single shot rifle, right?
Mm-hmm. No, bayonets
and so you had one or two shots, and then they were on you, and then you fought each other with bayonets. Could you imagine? I know you don't have a brother, but you have family members. Could you imagine bayoneting like your family member?
Yeah, it'd be like me bayoneting freaking IT.
Yeah.
It's like, that we can't meet an agreement on this one thing, which thankfully I've never had a disagreement like that with IT, but, you know.
Could you imagine that, though? Can you imagine meeting your brother,
it was
whether
very
he
common.
be blood or otherwise,
Yeah, it was very common.
on the field of battle?
Right, and it's like, uh-oh, what do we do here? Because, there's even stories of, like I just want to explain, like, both sides of the war were guilty of crime. There was good guys and bad guys on both sides, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, there's heroes and villains on both sides. Like, the Union burned down a village without any good reason. The Confederates owned the slaves, so on and so forth. It's a sad war. And so is, like, for example, World War I. You want to talk about a pointless freaking war. That's one of them. Oh!
Well, for example, say we had a war against communism in this country.
Well, if we
and
united,
you being a KGB agent, you would be on the communist side.
Oh, no.
And it would be my duty to kill you.
Oh. Don't do that.
And that would break my heart.
Don't do that, Suka. Don't do that. No. I will give you vodka. If any
of you are new to the podcast and you're hearing this, so me and John have this running joke that he's a KGB agent. He's not really, but I swear some of the things that he says makes him sound like he is.
Look, comrade, I gotta set you straight. Fool of it. Anyhow, that's pretty much like, I just want everyone to kind of like look at things, be aware of things, and don't go spouting off about bloodshed if you're not really well acquainted.
Trust me, Chief.
Yeah.
This ain't it.
Yeah. Goofball. Anyhow, let's see here. What else did we have?
I saw you the other day. You was looking drip.
Yeah, all dripping.
So,
subject.
I don't know if you guys are listeners, if you guys watch or keep up with the Babylon Bee, but there's some really good explanations on the Babylon Bee that I think you guys should look up and see. It helped me understand these young fellers a lot better. And when in doubt, the Bee said that if you don't know what it means, it probably has something to do with drugs.
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So surviving the day, John.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real with you, Chief. I couldn't really think of anything this week too much. I had a listener give me a suggestion about escaping and evading, and while I think those are good skills to have, and maybe for me it's like, because I'm in the hills and stuff or whatever, I'm just used to being kind of trying to be out of sight anyways. I don't know if I'd be a good teacher for a Sears class, because I'm like, well, what am I evading?
Right.
Am I evading zombies?
Okay. All right. Let's make up a. I'll go ahead and make up a scenario for the sake of.
Give me a scenario, and I will teach.
Okay. So, and I'll teach as well. All right. Like, so. Okay, you're in the hills of Colorado, of Chernobyl. You gotta evade the radiation. No, you gotta evade the mutants. Stalker, run! But anyways,
growing a second dong.
Right.
I'm happy.
This is not a minus. Let me see here. So you're in the hills of Colorado.
Okay.
And you see a convoy of foreign hostile military units after the world has gone to hell. And you happen to not be seen, or okay, hold on, let me back up. They spot you, right? and they react to you, but I'd say they're a solid 300 meters down a hill from you, right?
Okay, they're 300 meters down. So I have the high ground.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Am I at the military crest of the hill?
Sure, you can see them over the military crest. They have noticed you, though.
No. Am I
Oh,
at the military
you mean
crest?
like so your like back is to it, you mean?
So the military crest of a hill means that I'm almost all the way over the next like ridge of a hill, but I'm far
Okay.
enough down that I'm not skylining myself.
I was thinking of kind of like a cliff, I suppose. Like they could not a super steep cliff. Like they could run up to you from the direction you're looking.
The reason I ask
Yeah.
if I'm at the military crest of the hill, and that's a good place to keep yourself at for and I don't really count this as escape and evading. This is just this is just tactically sound, what you should always do. If I'm spotted and I'm at the military crest, all I got to do is bound over that mountain and I'm back down the other side.
Yeah.
They are going to have hell getting to me before I'm down at the bottom of that next hill and at least halfway back up the other one. And in Colorado, if y'all don't know this, there's a lot of these things called trees.
Yeah. So basically, you already have an advantage in this scenario, which hopefully this would be the most common thing to happen. And maybe they'll just decide that, you're just a straggler. They don't want to mess with you. They're going to keep going because you're just one target, right?
But with that said, here's what I would do. I'm spotted. If I am at the military crest, I'm going to bound over it. I am going to get down the other side as fast as possible. And then I am going to go downstream of that canyon, meaning not towards like if I'm going over, I'm not going to go towards the way that like a box canyon ends, right? Because I don't want to
Right.
be trapped. So I'm
Yeah.
going to go at an angle up and downstream, if possible.
So this is a note I'd like to add to people. Wherever you're gonna go, right? Your position, like camp, whatever. And this is like before Teotihuacan. Wherever you're gonna go, here's a tip: learn like the area really well. Make it your home playing field.
Correct.
So when the enemy comes, it's not just like two people or two hostiles to each other fumbling about wondering what the hell they're doing and where they're going. It's one target that has no clue about this area other than some satellite images, and the other target knows everything up to date, right where it is, what's going on.
And you want to make your AO so sketch for them that they don't want to screw with you. So dangerous. So if you do have an AO where you're at a lot, maybe some booby traps are in order. Because you send a party after me and you lose 3 of your guys in the first 15 minutes, you might not want to keep chasing after me.
Yep. Yeah, it's like Apocalypto.
Exactly.
You remember that movie? Yeah, they got that bit.
I love that movie.
Oh, absolutely.
I love that movie.
Yeah, there you go. You want to see how to not escape and
Escape and
evade.
evade?
How to not escape and evade is running in a straight line.
Correct.
I was about to say that movie drives me insane because during that bit there's a bit where the Mayan empire is chasing this prisoner through the hills and stuff, and he just runs in a straight line the whole time. Straight also, and this is another thing, to where the last place he wants the Mayan Empire to be, which is his protected wife and daughter.
Yeah.
Or wife and son, I don't really remember. It's like he led them to them in a straight line, and I'm just kind of no.
So with that said, and that's another reason why I kind of had at times reservations at even
mentioning Sears tactics.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you, the listener, and I'm sorry, but I'm not going to tell you, the listener, everything that I know.
Right.
Because and this is up to you, the listener, to come up with your own ideas. There's some things that I don't want the enemy to know that I'm going to do.
Yep. So.
And you, the listener, need to do the same thing. If you can be unpredictable, that's a good thing.
It is. Remember, there was a quote. One of the, I believe it was a German general in World War II. He said the Russians throw bodies at a target, and he like went on the Polacks, just do this and that. He was talking about how every enemy was predictable except the Americans. And he went on and he said, I don't think the Americans even know what they're doing, so they're scary as hell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's that unpredictability. Good friend of mine was in the Iraq War. He spent 2 tours during the Battle of, I believe, Ramadi, and he probably chewed some of the same dirt as actually Jocko Willink did, but in the Marine Corps. And he had a very interesting way of doing patrols. He's kind of a slender fellow like me. Actually, even more slender than I am. And so he got cold easy in the deserts of Iraq. Believe it or not, in Iraq, it gets really cold at night. Because there's nothing to keep the heat in, because it's all just sand. And so all that heat just disappears like a fart in the wind. And so he was actually high enough in the Marine Corps at the time that he had command of his own guys. And the way they would do patrols is looking for spare propane tanks.
Right.
That were unattended. Commandeered.
Right.
And so he would tell his guys, it's going to get cold tonight, guys. We got to find 4 propane tanks. And he said he could tell the enemy. He said we were the only unit that never got hit because they didn't know what the F we were doing. Because we were going in a different direction every day.
Mm.
Everybody else became predictable. He said, but once I figured out, we're not being hit because they don't know what we're doing. He said, I kept it up. Even when we end up getting enough propane, we still ended up going on propane spotting expeditions to write them down because it worked. So if you find something that works that your enemy doesn't understand, keep doing it.
Yeah. No, I like it. Sun Tzu said that, and I think he knows a little more about fighting than you do, pal, because he invented it.
I'm not going to say my Marine friend's name, but shout out to you, B. If you ever listen to this.
There you go. And then he herded all the animals onto the boat, and he beat the crap out of every single one. And that's why anytime animals are herded together, it's called a zoo.
It's called a zoo.
Unless it's a farm. All right, everybody, I'd say that's a pretty good show.
Good night, everybody. Y'all have a great night. Would you like me to close in prayer?
Yeah, please. No.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Father God. And Lord, I thank you for this time for fun and fellowship that we can get together and talk about the relevance of things to today. And I pray, Lord, that if today is the day, that you would both prepare us mentally, physically, and spiritually, and our listeners, and that we would stay prepared. One, with understanding that we can do nothing without you, Lord Jesus. And 2, that the most important weapon we have is in between our ears. We ask for this in your precious holy name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. You can find our page at facebook.com/ITTDM. That's Is Today the Day Media, abbreviated. You can also find that link in our description. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button, and also you can share this video quite easily on your personal pages and elsewhere. We will go further into getting merchandise out and ready. We look forward to getting that out and getting our name out there. We've been doing this for about 2 years now, and we've gotten a lot better at it than when we first began.
Yep.
So it has been a pleasure, everyone. Thank you for listening. This is Jonathan of Vigilance and War Spirit with This Today the Day Media, keeping information out there and teaching you how to stay alive. Be safe, guys.
Bye.